from the time I was little, I wanted to have my own company, but it just, some things don't always work out the way you want. And so I ended up getting a degree in engineering. I worked at Ford for 17 years. I did powertrain controls. I helped them with their autonomous vehicle development. A feature called Blue Cruise, I got to actually lead that from the start. And before I handed it off and left and worked at a Chinese firm, another startup doing level 4 automation, and then COVID crashed us and killed us. Not killed us, but we were still alive, obviously. But it closed the company down. And so I was talking to my wife and kids and just going like, what are we going to do? It's middle of COVID. It's not a good way to start over. And we got about a 100-day runway. And so I had been developing driverless vehicles for some time for 2 different major automotive OEMs.
Right.
And so we decided that we were going to design, build, and demonstrate a driverless shuttle in 100 days.
So when you started this fun family project journey of creating an autonomous vehicle, which, by the way, you realize how interesting of a family project that is for the average family, right? The average family is like, we're going to go build a playground, and you guys are like, you know what? We're going to build a self-driving car. That's what we're going to do for fun.
Well, I always say, what do normal people do?
Right.
So this is what we do. That's normal.
Yeah. Normal people is going to go build a trampoline. That's what they're going to do together.
Maybe we should have done that. It'd be a lot easier.
But when you created this shuttle, which I'll flash pictures of in post so people can see what we're talking about. I'll grab pictures so they'll have a concept of it. You were not planning to start a company. This was just something that you're like.
I mean, in part of, so we didn't start it at the beginning. I mean, I thought, well, maybe somebody will see it and, we'll do something with it. Or maybe, YouTube, people are making money off of YouTube. Maybe we'll get something, like what's cooler than a family making an autonomous shuttle? But then it didn't take off. I mean, the video, YouTube didn't take off. But it's still there, and there's not a single person that I've ever talked to that's watched it that didn't say, that is amazing.
It is a cool video. I've watched the whole series. It's really sweet.
Thank
and
you.
What they don't know, we already talked about this earlier. So Shane created this autonomous shuttle, and the goal of this could be, the practical uses of this could be at a lot of different things. It could be used to shuttle people at ball games. If you park downtown Detroit, that parking around the arenas is anywhere from $50 plus. It could be $100. And so you're like, well, if I'm going to want the $25 parking, I'm parking, and then for some people there might be safety concerns if the game gets out at like 11 o'clock and all those kind of things. And so this is a really cool concept to where if it's a driverless shuttle, it can go pick you up, take people from parking to games to concerts. There's a lot of practical ways to this.
Yep.
And what they don't know is in my senior year of college, this is where Shane and I connected. I created this idea. We had an entrepreneur class, and my idea was a driverless shuttle for sports games for college campuses.
Yeah, exactly.
We had a whole business plan, and when he told me he made this, it was like a dream realized for me because I
now
created
if we could
this.
just sell it.
Now, well, maybe that's
we
what
need
we
a
need to
sales
figure this
guy.
out. Yeah, now we can figure that out.
Yeah.
But it was so cool because it was like something that I had created in a dream and a maybe, and then you guys actually made it. And it was a really cool, and you guys will see on the screen, like it is a really cool design. It's sleek. Is it glass, plastic?
Actually, we use a material called polycarbonate, which polycarbonate is one of the coolest materials, I think. It happens to be what some people call it transparent aluminum. It's, I think, half the weight of aluminum. Someone's going to correct me on this. I think it's half the weight of aluminum.
And aluminum's already pretty light metal, right?
Yeah, it's already pretty light. No, it's not half the weight. It's twice the weight, half the strength. That's what it is. Something like that. Somebody will go back and say, you're completely off your rocker, but that's okay. But it's also bulletproof. Actually, they use it in between bulletproof glass. And so we didn't get it into the videos, but we actually took video of actually shooting it with 4 or 5 different caliber guns.
Wow.
And yes, somebody will say, it's not completely bulletproof. Well, that's true, but it's
help.
for most calibers it is.
Yeah, it'll help.
So
That's
it's
sweet.
Yeah. So it was a really cool material to work with. I actually never worked with it before. We started out. If you watch the video, you'll start out seeing us like trying to work with acrylic, and I mean I knew it would crack, but I didn't know how bad it would. Just so we were like, man, this is not going to work. So we had to come up with something else, and we found polycarbonate, and I was like, man, you got to make the whole thing out of this. So it was cool. It was a lot of fun.
What took you the longest? When it came to creating the vehicle? Was it the programming that went into the software to make it self-driving, or was it the actual like hardware and itself?
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely the hardware is always like a very, time-consuming piece of it. Software is very time-consuming as well, but there's something for like hardware is like, it feels like it's always stressful, like from start to finish. It's hard. It's just hard. It's physical labor and so forth. Software, it's like there's a portion of it where it's not very like there's no physical labor in it. I mean, except for
mental labor, a lot of mental labor.
But when you get too close to the end and stuff isn't with the hardware and the software and working together, I mean, it's absolutely anguishing. And also, I don't really think those were really either one of those or one thing were the hardest. I think there's a couple things. One was actually like we set a time frame, and even though it wasn't 100 days consecutive, it was really close. And there was a reason we set 100 days. We had a 100-day runway, and we went over the day by day one, but it was 108 physical days that we worked on it. I mean, when I went on vacation, I forced myself not to work on it because I'm like, I can't count this again because I'm only going to get like a couple hours at the most.
Yeah.
So I can't do this. But to get back to your question, the I think some of the hardest things besides, I mean, where did we start? There's probably the most difficult thing was, most of the time I was working, I was completely by myself in my garage, and thankfully I had a lot of people come on the weekends, sometimes in the evenings, whatever. My oldest brother, Jason, man, it was probably somewhere midway through this, man, I was just getting so discouraged, and like I actually got to a point where I was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever done. Like I should probably just quit this and find some other way to do something. And my brother Jason started coming out on Fridays. Every Friday he would come out, and he would wire stuff for me. He just came. I think he was just coming to be an encouragement. But he's kind of a techie. He likes, he likes that stuff. But he came out, and it was a huge encouragement to me. And but I think honestly that probably is the number one most difficult thing. Is just the when you're in the middle of the problem and the end is it's only 100 days. Yeah, try building a Autonomous Shuttle in 100 days. It feels like an eternity.
Yeah.
And the middle of it, it just felt like I'm not going to succeed at this, and I don't know how to get through this next step. But outside of that, on a lighter note, I think ordering stuff, I mentioned in the video, like I cannot believe the amount of just the logistics of ordering it. I don't have at the time, I don't have anybody supporting logistics. It's just me and, bless you.
Excuse me. Everyone's ears at home. I apologize for that. Hopefully the compression could get into the microphones. Go ahead.
But let's see, there's that. The ordering was really difficult. And
then when it comes to the, creating a vehicle alone is a challenging task. And then you said, not only are we going to create something that goes forward, backwards, left, and right, we're going to create something that uses GPS and can drive itself. There's no steering, there's no actual physical steering wheel. No. I do think that's where, is that where that came in at some point?
This guy here? Yeah. So, from a testing perspective, we have to have a way to control it. But
I'm not going to lie. Sorry, real quick.
Yeah.
The game controller, when I saw that, the first thing I thought of when I went, so the Titan shuttle or the Titan submarine.
No.
So, okay,
the
story that imploded. They used a game.
They might have watched our video. Hopefully not.
They were like, "This is a great idea," and then.
That's a really sad.
It is sad.
It's really sad. So there's a thing in autonomous vehicle development and actually a lot of safety systems called functional safety, and it's actually very critical. And sometimes people skip those things, but I've had a lot of exposure to it.
Yeah, because
and so
growing up in we
at Ford, at
so talk me through the Ford thing. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm jumping around because I want to. The autonomous thing is really cool. Not every day do you get to talk to someone that said not only have we, and by the way, NIFT has done a lot of stuff, and
Yeah,
we'll get through that
absolutely.
stuff.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the listeners are going to be really fascinated by autonomy when it comes to driverless vehicles. Right now, that's a big buzzword still.
Yeah.
Tesla came on the scene. They were kind
Yeah.
of known for a while as the first car in production to kind of drive itself, and then
Yep.
the big three and the others kind of took notice.
Yeah. Well, I think it was more like, hey, we better do something.